let's talk about past lives, shall we? Or parallel lives, as I call it, because truthfully, there is no such thing as past lives. We think of it as past lives because linearly we are taught in history class, right, that ancient Egypt was a long time ago, that the Mayan civilization, the Druids, ancient African civilizations, which is also ancient Egyptian, Native American civilizations, the ancient Nordics, like all of these civilizations happened a long, long time ago. Atlantis, Lemuria even. And linearly, that is true. But I know that if you're here, that you know that time isn't linear, that it is cyclical, and that it is all happening now, that everything is happening now. So past lives isn't really a thing. It's really parallel lives. So that's one thing that I really feel called to share and spread the message of in my lifetime is of your multidimensionality, that your parallel or past lives are an expression of your multidimensionality. And the reason why it's actually very easy to tap into those parallel lives is because they are all happening now. They're all happening now on other fabrics of existence, other fabrics of reality, and in other cycles of time. So you can tap into the past lives, you can tap into future lives, you can tap into lives on other planets, you can tap into lives all over the map. Okay, galactic map, we're talking. So if you haven't already liked this video, give it a like if you're watching live or on the replay, and definitely subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I dropped the link to my free 5-minute tarot guide here in the chat, and I just pinned it to the top for you guys if you haven't already grabbed that. Would love to have you in my email community so that I can connect with you more deeply. I love connecting with you here on YouTube, but in email, I'm going to be sharing more personal updates and offerings that I have coming up and all of that good stuff. So definitely make sure that you are on that list. So when it comes to parallel lives, it's important to understand that tapping into your parallel lives is really at this point for 3 purposes. So number 1, it's to understand your multidimensionality, because you are multidimensional. You are existing in so many different fabrics and facets of time. You can think of it sort of like an onion, okay? An onion and all of its layers and all of it's a sphere, which is really cool. So that's a really good analogy as well for the cyclical nature of everything and how everything is turning and rotating all at once. And then the skewer, so if you took a skewer and stabbed that skewer through the onion, that skewer would be the representation of you, of what you actually are. Your soul is moving through and is existing in all of these layers of the onion, or all of these incarnations all at once. Okay, so you are the skewer, and the onion and all of its layers are a representation of all of the lives that you are living all at one time. So all you got to do is peel through a few layers here, and you can access those parallel lives. Bianca says, yes, it's like changing the channel on television or a station on the radio, what we are tuning into. Absolutely. So that's the first thing that you need to know, is that your multidimensionality is expressed in all of these other incarnations. Now, currently you are focused, the majority of your consciousness is focused in this life here on earth. So that means that this life is the most important thing for you to be focusing your energy on right now, for the most part. Now, I've been told several times by my spirit guides that for many of us, and if you're watching this and if you're meant to be part of my community, this applies to you as well, that this life is the linchpin. Welcome everybody who's watching live. Give this video a like if you haven't yet. Make sure you subscribe. So this life is the linchpin, which means the most important. So a linchpin is a piece of a wheel that when you stick it in the wheel, it's what holds the wheel to the hubcap, I think is the right term. term. It's what holds the wheel to the hubcap. And so the wheel spins, and you can think of the wheel as well as another analogy for all of your lifetimes and all the lifetimes that you're living here on Earth and even on other planets. But this life is the linchpin. So it's the life that is holding everything together. It is the life that is so important for you to fully self-actualize, fully self-realize, so that the wheel continues to spin, so that we move forward on this ascension process, so that you complete the mission and we complete the mission that we came here on Earth to complete in this life and in these lifetimes, these many lifetimes, because we've been helping out humanity for eons, right? So it's really, really important for you to understand that. And then it's important for you to do two things with your past or parallel life session. If you want a past life session or parallel life session with me, feel free to reach out to me via email at hello@ciararubin.com. They are super fun. I love diving into y'all's other lifetimes. So if you want, I just put it in the chat there. So if you want a past life session, it's really important for these two reasons. Number one, you're healing. So if there is an issue that has been plaguing you, a problem or a challenge, something in your manifestations that just aren't working and you just can't figure it out. You're like, I'm doing the gratitude, I'm meditating, I'm moving my body, I'm eating healthy for the most part. Like, what is it? It could definitely be a parallel life issue. I just last week came through a parallel life issue and healed one of my past lives from ancient Egypt. So it's for your healing. One of the purposes for looking into your past lives is to heal, is to release any vows that you may have taken or energy that you may have kept stuck there in that lifetime, to release that so that you can be free to fully self-actualize, to become all who you're meant to be in this life. So that's one reason for tapping in. And another reason for tapping into your past or parallel lives is for your self-empowerment, because there are many other lifetimes in which you are acing all the things that you're feeling challenged with in this life, or you just were a really powerful, self-empowered person in that lifetime, or you have got all these magical abilities. Maybe you have a galactic lifetime on another planet, so you've got a lot of other abilities that you can tap into. Those are the three main things that I want you to know about your past or parallel lives today. And bonus, a final thing that I want to say that is really, really important when it comes to tapping into your multidimensionality connects back to what I was saying earlier about how this life is the most important. And that is to not get too hung up on your parallel lives, not get too attached to who you were or who you are in these other lives. You might have the inclination or the understanding that you were a somewhat important person in another life, historically or esoterically. And if you have those inclinations, absolutely, you do have those parallel life connections. It's important to understand that there are things called oversouls. All right. And so the oversoul holds a collection of many different souls. So think of like onions on onions on onions. Okay. So you are the skewer going through an onion with all these incarnations. And then imagine a being or a consciousness that is made up of many, many, many different skewers. Thank you. Yeah, 100. Think of that is an oversoul. So an oversoul contains tons of skewers, hundreds of thousands of skewers, okay, of souls, individual souls. And those hundreds of thousands of skewers or souls are then sticking through hundreds of thousands of onions that have thousands, hundreds, depending on how old your soul is, of layers of incarnations. Okay, so it is definitely possible for you to be connected through your oversoul to famous or historical important figures, because of course at one level we are all one. So, separation, it's a trip, right? But it's important not to get too caught up in that, and I've been there. This is why I'm saying this, is because I've done it. I've been there years ago. I get very caught up and very just feeling super, super special and super self-important about the lifetimes that I've had. And that is an ego trip. That is not necessarily information that needs to be shared. And I won't share it. I won't say who I was in a past life because it doesn't really matter. It really just matters for my own understanding of multidimensionality, for my own healing, for my own self-empowerment. And same goes for you when you start to discover some of your past and parallel lives. You know, it's for you to understand and accept, integrate your multidimensionality, heal, and to empower yourself. All right. Don't get too stuck, get too attached to those other lifetimes, because remember, this life is the most important. This life is the linchpin. This life is the life where you are meant to fully self-actualize, fully self-realize. This is your redemption life, okay? Anything and everything that you weren't able to do or achieve in your other lives, it is available to you in this life if you only get out of your own way. Look into those parallel lives for your healing and do the healing work. Look into those lives for the self-empowerment and empower yourself, because no one else can do it for you. No one else can empower you. I cannot empower you. If I claim to empower you, that's creating a codependent, energetic cycle, which is unhealthy for you. All right. And you cannot empower other people. You can inspire other people. I can inspire you, but I cannot empower you, and you cannot empower other people. Otherwise, it becomes unhealthy energetically. Okay, so that's another little bonus for you. I get very passionate about that. If you haven't already, like this broadcast and subscribe to the channel and share it out to your friends if you found this message interesting, if it resonated with you, if you think it's super cool. I think it's super cool. And definitely grab that free tarot guide. I love you today and every day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.